Just like that, we are brought back to earth. West Ham 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, and another deflated feeling that I've not felt for such a long time. It's been, I don't know, the last 3 months have been a whirlwind of emotions, but you've not missed football. Then suddenly we're back into it, and bang, 2-0. West Ham have been defeated. My name's Anton. You're back with Irons United. I'm joined by Alf, Stel, and Nigel. Guys, brief thoughts before we kind of digress the game a little bit.
Well, 3 months away, nothing's changed. We're still impotent going forward. That's about it. We can sing a couple of passes together. We lose possession, and we are like lamb against wolves. Pardon the pun.
Literally.
Do you know what? I've got a West Ham bottle opener. Even this is struggling to open my beer. Do you know what? It is. This is what. Look, people, look, a proper West Ham bottle opener and all. Yeah? Still got a label.
Yeah.
I mean, good analogy there. To be honest with you, Alf. I mean, it's exactly it.
Yeah.
Listen, just in case someone's noticed it, but I don't know if the title of the show actually says West Ham 0, Wolves 0. Just in case it does, it is not. Wolves beat West Ham 2-0 at an empty London stadium. Stel, do you think the stadium had any form of effect on the players?
Well, no, because they did as badly with the fans there as they did without. So it's just no change. Our tactics, mate, are the problem. I was really, really hoping. I mean, we've said it to death, haven't we? I was really, really hoping that Moyes would have learnt his lesson and not allow teams to come at us. So I think it would have been worse if the fans were there, to be honest with you. I think if the fans were there, we would have got on the players' backs because we offered nothing today. You know, sorry, but we offered nothing.
Nigel, was it that West Ham weren't great, or were Wolves? What was it that Wolves maybe showed that West Ham didn't show?
I think it's the Wolves are going to look at their substitutions. I mean, you can see Sky have made Adama Traore man of the match, and he played 25 minutes.
Yeah,
and I think that sums it up. I mean, we see him sitting there, and I had my neighbour over, and I explained to him about, he knows about Traore, and I still remember seeing him burn Creswell for that goal 2 years ago when Wolves just came up, and we thought, oh, here we go, we'll have these, and they beat us, and that's when Pellegrini lost his first 4 games in charge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you think, well, he's the man to look at, isn't he? I mean, the only thing I would say is I thought the fake atmosphere was possibly better than the real atmosphere at the London Stadium. So, on the bright side, perhaps they should pipe in the FIFA atmosphere into the stadium. But, I mean, I must admit, I'll switch that off because that gets on my nerves, that fake atmosphere. I'd listen to it without it. But it was the type of performance, to be honest, that I was expecting. It was a fairly even game, even though Wolves were the better team, while it was 0-0 and Traore wasn't on the pitch. And as soon as he come on, it was almost as if he thought, we'll keep him back. They're going to be burnt out by the middle of the second half, which is like first game for 3 months, not match fit probably, and everything else. I'll unleash Traore then. Now, that's planning and tactics. I used to laugh when Stel started calling him Dithering Dave, but it's hard to argue with it now, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be fair.
Well, the point in case, mate, we had 5 substitutions to make, and I did predict it that he wouldn't have made 5, and he definitely didn't make 5. Because he wouldn't have known who to bring on, and yet again, he brought on subs when it was too late. And that's what is so frustrating with David Moyes.
So maybe what we're saying here is the key point is the substitutions. So the Wolves substitution is what changed their game for the better, but the West Ham substitutions, there isn't anything that would change it to make it better.
He didn't bring on the subs in the right time. You know,
we were always chasing our feet with that, though, weren't we?
And the irony is, as much as we've maligned this youngster over the past couple of weeks because of his decision not to stay at West Ham, he was probably one of our better players. And Ngakia takes him off. Fredericks comes on. They score their second goal. You know, so two substitutions have changed the game. Traore for them and Ngakia coming off for us have decided the game. And that says all you need to know about David Moyes and his approach to the game, and it is frustrating. And we have had 3 months of not having any football, and he seems to have gone right back to square one. And I think that's what's the most frustrating thing about this, is that he's gone right back to square one. You know,
right? Can we do a little bit of digressing of the game? The starting lineup was I know we spoke about it in all the videos we've done today. So we had Fabianski, of course. So as a whole, Alf. Oh, you go ahead.
I'm gonna have to go. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
He wants tea, no sugar.
So we had Fabianski. He never really had a lot to do, to be fair. So we can't really. I mean, I don't think he was at fault for any of the goals at all. Then we had Ngakia. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, I agree with Stel. Nigel, I thought he played all right. I thought he'd done well.
It's a double performance from Ngakia. I said it on a week ago. I'm sick of hearing his name. Don't want to play for us. It's a twofold thing. He showed us that perhaps he's worth the money, and we showed him you might be better off going elsewhere, mate. Yeah? Do you see what I'm saying? Because you look at it and you think, now I've flipped over to let's tie him down. Let's give him the money. At the end of the day, if we're going to let Zabaleta go, well, that saves us the wages to pay Ngakia. If it's 8, 10, 15 grand a week, let's get him tied down. But Ngakia might look at us and think, you know what? I might have it on my toes and walk away for nothing. Thank you very much, because you lot don't seem up for the fight.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, I thought he looked decent. People are in the comments right now agreeing with that. Diop and Rice, for me personally, in the first half, I thought Rice, I mean, Wolves were on the front foot. I think they had upwards of 70% possession. Every threat they came through, I felt like Rice dealt with it. Diop was really quiet, didn't really have much to do, or didn't really hear much really from him. What was your thoughts on the centre half pairing?
Well, this is the irony, Anton. We weren't under threat. Wolves didn't look like they came out of second gear. They didn't even have to come out of second gear to score their 2 goals. You know, only Traore gave them that little oomph to G them up. But so yeah, it was comfortable for Diop and Rice, and actually, yeah, we looked all right. But I don't think the irony, we've lost 2-0, but they didn't look like they were really. Our defense didn't look like it was threatened, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because Wolves weren't coming at us. We gave them, and this is what is even more frustrating about the game, is we gave them so much, we gave them so much freedom of the park. We let them play their game. So they could just, they played in first gear, and yet they still managed to pick off 2 goals. But our defense didn't look like it was under really, any threat. And that's the irony of the game, But Rice looked good. You've said it yourself. You called it quite a few times that Rice looks comfortable in his position that he normally plays in, which is centre back.
Yeah. Aaron Creswell, left back today. I thought again, I don't know if he was massively at fault up until maybe when Traore came on and I mean he looked. I mean, did you see the size of Traore? I mean,
he's been busy in lockdown, hasn't he?
He is.
He's been hunting something, I'll tell you.
Oh, my word.
Dear,
my word. He backs it up with pace. He's got skill. He's got the lot. He looks like he's a real deal. And I know there was a link to Man City before the lockdown happened, so I wouldn't be surprised if some other clubs are kind of sniffing in and around.
But if he's a Man City player, hasn't he got to be starting? There's a reason why he comes off the bench, and I think not a big Wolves follower, but I think it's when he starts, he sort of blows hot and cold in the game and can disappear. And what they've found out is all his best work is done coming on late. There was a great stat that they put up. I don't know if it was when it was 0-0 that, you know, they'd scored 21 goals in the last 20 minutes and conceded 5. Yeah. Where in the first 70 or 60 odd minutes, they'd scored 20 goals. So Wolves are a last third of the game team, and that equates to when they're using Traore at his best.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I suppose what that meant was by dropping Diop back into Rice back into the defence allowed us to try something we thought would be new, and Souček and Noble in protecting. But I thought every appearance that Souček has played for the club up until today he's been really, really top notch. But he lacked it today. He was never involved. He was never intercepting anything today. Out of the two players, Noble was head and shoulders above Souček today, in my opinion. I don't know what you think.
I think the whole team looked a bit lackluster, to be honest with you, mate. You know, it wasn't just Souček, and I think I think, you know, it's interesting. You know, Gary's just put a comment up. Rice not happy playing in defence. I think Rice complements Souček better than Noble does, and you know, I did say before that I was worried about Noble playing. That I thought that Wolves would kind of outrun him in midfield, and in a way they didn't kind of outrun Noble or Souček, but they just had a lot more possession in midfield. We made it comfortable for them, and Souček is the sort of player that you expect to sort of get in there and break things up, etc. But I just don't think it was him only. I think it. But the irony is, if he was playing alongside Rice, maybe there would have been a bit more about us in midfield, you know. And I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not picking on Noble, but I just think we needed more in midfield. But the irony is, we needed more in defence as well. So I can understand why Rice was there. So I think Souček is a better player with someone like Rice next to him. Is my thinking.
Nigel, what's your thoughts on Antonio being up top himself? I mean, we've got the Anderson, Fornals, and Bowen just in behind, but really is that us just reverting back to the old tactics of what is that? What is the point of playing him up top alone?
I don't think has he ever scored playing up front for us.
Don't think so.
I mean, off the top of my head, near enough all his goals of when he's played out wide right. And he comes in off the wing at the back and catches the defenders unawares. And we've played him in up front before, and it's never really worked.
Yeah.
You know, we was talking before about why has he not give Xande Silva a run out? You know, when the team was announced and you look and then you hear Haller's injured and you're thinking, what are we going to do? Because Haller hasn't scored a lot of goals, but he's still up there and he holds the ball up well. When you got Antonio up there, we're playing the ball a lot in front of him. And I don't think he's that type of.
It's what you said earlier, Nigel. It's like, you know, we know Allaire was injured, but we don't go out like you said during the watch along. That's where we found players in the past, Tony Cottee and and players like that, and why not just give the boy a run out? Why not give Xande Silva a run out? He's an unknown source, just like Cottee was. People didn't know what it was about. You know, he came on, scored, made a name for himself. And we don't know what Xande Silva's capable of doing unless he's given a chance. And when you have your only striker in the first team who's out, then you do something. You do something different. You do something to surprise the opposition. And that would have surprised Wolves. I'm not saying Silva would have scored, but he might have been a bit about, he's a striker. He's a forward. So he knows how to, he should know how to make the runs and create space and stuff like that. And it would have been better. And you're absolutely right, mate. Antonio, has scored all his goals from midfield. He's not. I think you're right. I don't think he scored any goals. He's a good battle axe to play alongside a striker. To give this, to get the ball for the striker. But he's not a striker, is he? And that's the sort of thing that frustrated me. That we were just we're already on the back foot. Okay, Alaire's injured. Fair enough. He's injured. So, but then. I'm not saying start Xande Silva, but good grief, 5 bloody subs, and he didn't come on for one of them. He could have had at least a 10-minute run out, if nothing else. Just to see what the boy was about. That's David Moyes, isn't it? Though that's David Moyes.
We've got some match stats for us as well. We've got 10 shots for Wolves to West Ham's 7, 6 on target for Wolves to West Ham's 2. But most of that really kind of. I'm actually surprised. I can't even remember the 7 shots.
One of them, one shot on target was on Gakia with his left foot.
Yeah. Their possession was nearly 60% at 58% to West Ham's 42%. So, but I mean, in the first half alone, I think the percentage of possession was 70%. We were on the back foot. The game itself. When we go into the game, I mean, West Ham held our own it was 0-0 with up to 73 minutes before he popped up and scored the goal for Wolves. I mean,
Jimenez,
Jimenez. What was
going on? Ironically, a stat came up. I think what you referred to, Nigel, a stat came up just before where it showed Wolves scoring their goals in the last 20 minutes of a game or something like that.
Yeah,
and we must have known that. David Moyes must have known that. He must have done his preparation, and he must have known that Wolves come good in the last 20 odd minutes. And it must have been a massive warning when Traore came on for him. It must have been an alarm bell for him to think, all right, I need to do something about this.
Well, we've seen it time and time again this season, watching Match of the Day. And I know this thing where they'll bring Traore on last half hour, everything. That's the way that Wolves play. Now, we would have scouted Wolves before lockdown. You remember, this game got called off, 24 hours or 48 hours before the game was supposed to be played. So we would have watched Wolves in the we do have scouts that watch opposition, believe it or not, just we don't watch players. So we would have watched them and we would have known what to expect. And they've played exactly the same way that they've played all season. So they've not done anything different. They hold it tight, they keep it tight, and then late on they get the goals.
Yeah. Exactly.
And they've done it to a T. So you think, well, I've got some good news, lads. We've just come out of the bottom 3 because Bournemouth have gone 1-0 down.
Yeah.
I mean, we really are back down to earth, aren't we? We really are it's like we've waited 3 months.
All the Palace fans on Zoom, what a stupid idea that is. They're all happy anyway. But
they're saying it's a wonder goal from Mihailovic, but let's just hope they do us a favour here. So we certainly need a favour today.
We've waited 3 months to remind ourselves of just how shit we can really be at football.
Well, this is what I said before about let's not. The one thing we can do as a fan base is that we can self-combust at times. So we see ourselves drop into the bottom 3, and then the infighting comes out, and people go on Twitter and go on Facebook, and they rant and rage at each other. And all I say is let's have a calm perspective. We've not had a good record against Wolves since they've reappeared into the Premier League. Next up's Tottenham. Who knows what way that's going to go, and then after that Chelsea away. It's funny enough though, these are 2 games I believe we won last season.
We beat Spurs away and we beat Chelsea. We beat Chelsea at home.
No, we beat is Chelsea at home or is it away?
Chelsea's at home.
It's a bit like business as usual then, is it? Is this what we're saying? Like not business
exactly
in terms of we expect West Ham to be crap. It's business as usual in terms of has the 3-month break benefited us or not?
No.
And
we need 3 wins to stay up. That's for me. 36 points will keep you up.
Is that really going to be enough?
And I'm basing that on looking at who the other teams have got. Bournemouth are playing Palace now. They're 1-0 down. You know, they've got Man City to come. You know, Bournemouth's easy games, so-called easy games, are like they've got, I think they've got Newcastle coming up as well. You know, and then they've got Man City, Man United. Brighton are the ones who have who are the team actually who I thought would fall in because their first 5 games back are against, you know, top 6, 7 teams. Of course, they go and beat Arsenal.
They're going to beat Arsenal,
you know, puts us 5-point gap. So I still think 36 points is enough to stay up. That's 3 wins. I believe we'll beat Norwich. I believe we'll beat Aston Villa. I don't see any firepower from Villa, them scoring goals at all. What happens with the rest? You know, the Burnleys, the Newcastles.
They're going to be hard to call, aren't they?
Yeah. If we play like that, hopefully, you know, the only thing is, as I say, is that if you look at our form at the start of the season, so when every team started fresh in August, exactly the same, we accumulated the majority of our points.
Yeah.
So I was hoping for a bit of nobody's played for 3 months. This evens it up, especially with a team like Wolves. Hopefully they'll be cold as well. The problem that happens is when we get to Burnley's and Newcastle's, they've all had 3-4 games now to get into their seasons. They're back up to speed. So it's on a knife edge whether we stay. We could actually stay up off the back of 3 teams being equally as bad as us, which is the 3 down there. I think Norwich are gone. I can't see Villa getting out of it because they've got a lack of firepower. It's all about what Bournemouth do, because Bournemouth have got Callum Wilson and Josh King, and I don't know how fit they are. They look like they're both on the pitch, so there is possibility of goals because it's goals that will keep you up.
Listen, early on in the first half, Fornals was through, had a chance, hit it into Rose Ed. Do we think that would have made a difference for West Ham if we'd have gone 1-0 up, or would that have put more?
No, absolutely. It would have made the world of difference. It would have given us a massive lift, and scoring goals gives you confidence, and of course it would have made a difference, a massive difference. We may have ended up drawing the game. You know, I'm not saying Wolves wouldn't have come back in it, but of course it makes a difference. I mean, look at the way we went 1-0 down, and we still didn't really offer anything after going 1-0 down. We kept on playing more or less how we were playing.
Well, I guess our shots on target came before they scored.
Must have done. Well, the one shot, I think the only shot on target that I remember seeing, the Ngakia shot, I think was in
0-0.
Was it at 0-0? I thought it was at 1-0. I might be wrong.
That was at 0-0.
Right. And then but you know, look what we've done before this in this season. We go a goal down, our heads go down. I'm not saying our heads went down. We just didn't pick it up. We just didn't go, oh, we're 1-0 down. Now we need to start playing. We just carried on as normal. And this has to be David Moyes telling the players, you know, guiding the players and telling them how to play a particular way. And this is my point. My point is he did that when he first came back to us. His second, the first few games, he did exactly the same. You know, it was all about contain, and, you know, absorb the pressure and let's try and hit them on the break and stuff like that. We didn't even have the energy to hit them on the break, you know, so we were sort of containing them, but we didn't have anything to counter them against. And if that's what Moyes is going to do, I don't think we'll go down. But if Moyes continues to adopt that approach, then we will go down, because we need to go at these teams. We need to have a go.
Where I would say with Moyes is the only in his defences, this is not a David Moyes team. David Moyes is in his second spell at West Ham, and I think he's only ever bought Jarrod Bowen, hasn't he?
Yeah.
All right, and Hugh Gill, but you know he sold. You know, his first transfer window, we sold payout. We made a profit of 20 odd million. His first transfer window, and then we sacked him and brought Pellegrini in, and then we bring him back and we're in the bottom again, and he gets a transfer window and he gets Gerard Bowen. This is not a David Moyes West Ham team. So in his defence, he's always had to work with the players bought by managers that don't play the same type of football as him as well.
But in the last few games before lockdown, he started getting them to play a good way. We were quite excited that we weren't necessarily. You know, we were unlucky. I think again, what was it, Arsenal?
Arsenal away, we lost 1-0.
But we turned around and went, do you know what? We're actually doing all right, because he started to get them to gel in a way that we wouldn't expect a David Moyes team to play, and we were kind of excited, and we thought this is decent.
Yeah, but again, both Moyes' terms with us has been with us in the bottom. So I see people saying, and I'm not saying that's where you're going still, is that if we manage to stay up, I don't want Moyes next season. Yeah, there's a bit of me that think, well, hold up a minute. Isn't that a bit harsh on him, because he's never been able to build a team in his model?
I get that, but he can't change the team now, and he couldn't. He tried to change the team. Neil's just said we got Souček in, in the winter window as well. So, I get that, but he did get the team playing in a particular type of way. Liverpool away when we lost and we were unlucky again. And a bit more. We had a bit more about us. Who was the team just before that where we almost gave in? And then he changed it because he had Anderson at Liverpool to support. I think that was Antonio, and we had a little bit more about us. And we thought, oh, hang on a minute. And then I think the next game was Southampton when he played Bowen, and he was like, right, now we're going to go on the attack. And the last few games just before lockdown, we were turning around going,
but we thought we were unlucky. Not going to shoot myself in the foot here. We thought we were unlucky against Liverpool. Yeah. And then Liverpool's next game was Watford, who tanked them 3-0.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know.
And you think, whoa, hold up a minute.
I know, but nonetheless,
that's how you do it.
We played. The Liverpool game was the turning point where it felt like he started to play a different way. He started to play a bit more attack-minded, because up until that point, it didn't feel like it was being attack-minded. Whereas now, it was like, from the Liverpool game onwards, it felt that the whole feeling of the team felt quite different.
Well, he brought Ngakia back in that game. That was Ngakia's second game.
And he brought Bowen in. And then that's where I thought we were going to pick up from. I thought the last couple of games we played was where we were going to continue. But it looks like it feels like that didn't happen. And he's gone back to what it was like before the Liverpool game. And that's what it felt like today. It felt like we were sitting back, inviting Wolves on. And had this been a game in, say, 3 or 4 weeks' time, Wolves would have tore us apart today. They wouldn't have won just by 2. They would have probably beaten us by 3 or 4 goals. And it's kind of fortunate in a way that it was our first game back, because Wolves weren't on full form, and I don't know, mate. It just worries me. It just worries me the way that we set ourselves up today.
Was this image the turning point for today's game? The 2 substitutions. The manager made the first move for Wolves before we did, when we were desperately in need of maybe a substitution before that. But the minute he came on, he within 5 minutes he put 2 pin perfect crosses onto the Wolves players, and which led to obviously Jimenez scoring this goal. Would you say anyone was at fault for the first goal in particular?
Diop was underneath it, wasn't
he? Yeah. You can see the image there if you have a look.
I find it hard to pick out, because as a central defender, you would
2-0 Bournemouth, by the way. Sorry, 2-0 Palace. Sorry.
Yeah.
2-0 Palace.
Sorry,
go on, mate.
As a central defender, you would look at the left back and say, you got to cut the cross off. Now we know what Traore is about. Should we have doubled up on him? I don't know. At the end of the day, it was a great cross, because he's looped it over Diop in the middle, and just left Jimenez to smash it in.
Yeah.
You know, but the second goal was not a carbon copy because Traore laid it off. I don't know who crossed the ball for Neto to score. Was it Jimenez that then chipped it in?
Yeah.
You know, and then Fredericks was underneath it. We could look at it and go, well, Fredericks should have done better. Fredericks had been sucked into the middle and allowed Neto to peel off of him.
Yeah.
But he just come on the pitch.
Fredericks looked cold, you know.
Yeah, but he was cold, wasn't he?
Yeah. And,
that substitution for me made no sense because Ngakia was not tiring. It was almost like a substitution made just for the sake of making a substitution.
Wrong one.
Yeah.
You know, that's the time he should have thought, well, the defence is all right. You know, bring on Sande Silva. Let's put something else up front. And he did complete reverse.
Well, the one where for me, the substitution for me is Lanzini for Anderson because it's a straight swap and it changes nothing. Yeah. And we weren't doing anything. And formation-wise, you could see that Wolves were holding us. Yeah. So to bring on Lanzini, well, I mean, it come up, Lanzini was coming on. And I said, mate, I nailed on he's taking Anderson off. He ain't going to change it. He's just going to stick on. And we're going to play exactly the same way. And the fact is, we've got Anderson, a luxury player, being swapped for Lanzini, a luxury player.
Yeah.
And nothing changed. They both play the same way. They blow hot and cold. They drift in and out of games. How does that benefit us when there's 20 minutes to play in a game?
Totally agree.
You know, so that's the substitution for me. I would look at Moyes and question, but which is easy to do. You know, at the end of the day, we're not football managers, are we?
No, but we see things, and you know, as fans, we see things that a lot of other people see the same. You know, you're absolutely right. Lanzini for Anderson meant nothing, and maybe that's the time he should have. Yet again, we're going back.
But Anderson though did nothing. I mean,
the
first start,
it's upsetting actually.
I do agree on that, but equally though, like he was told to sit up top. I mean, he's not a striker.
No,
he's not a striker. He's sitting in beside Antonio. The two of them. I mean, no wonder there's confusion because there's not an out and out striker on the field.
Sorry about that, lads.
So they're all sitting there, just running ragged round, not really knowing what's going on, and it's just, I don't know. It's just the most frustrating thing. It's like he's not learned anything. He's kept everything so secret, and nothing's changed really.
And this is what absolutely frustrates me to hell. That we've learnt nothing, you know. All this secrecy and has given us no benefit whatsoever. And Moyes is the type of beast that it's safety first for him, you know. But you've got to have the team and the players to be safety first, and we can't defend for toffee. Nigel, you said it before, you know, that we cannot defend, and but by trying to defend means that we're inviting teams onto us, you know, and I fear on Tuesday night because you know, Spurs have got some decent front players, you know, that can hurt us, and if that's what we're going to do on Tuesday night, the last thing I want is to get tonked by bloody Spurs. You know, that would be
West Ham. No, turn up on Tuesday night, you know
and beat them. But you know, it's going to be interesting what team he plays on Tuesday night because a lot of these players are going to be absolutely wiped out after today. So I'm going to be intrigued as to who he brings on. I don't know what is it, a groin injury for Hilaire? Is it a minor groin injury or something like that?
My source hasn't told me. Did he say anything to you?
Yeah, he said it's a groin injury, but you don't really know. With a groin injury, it could be long term, it could be short term. We just don't know the extent of it. But all we know is he's
the absolute irony. You know, we were praising Hilaire because he scored 2 goals in the friendlies and saying, "Oh, well, it looks like he's up for it," and then he's out injured.
So do you think that was his? Do you think that was his? That was maybe, you know. Would that have been the final piece of the jigsaw? Would that have made a difference today if Hilaire had played? Who would have dropped to the bench?
Anderson wouldn't have played. It would have been Fornals, Bowen, and Hilaire, and that and Antonio, and that might have made a difference.
The amount of times the ball was punted forward, though, left to Antonio to try and win the header, and if he did, which he didn't a lot, there was no one there to run onto the ball after him. And that's when I was saying during the watch long, I was like, look at the amount of times the ball's getting punted forward, pointless punts.
Shades of
the ball, not running off.
Shades of how Moyes played when he came back, one up front, which did nothing. And someone said in the comments, Amarati, 4-4-2, none of this lone striker bollocks.
Who's the second striker though?
But this is it, mate. You know, he should have decided to. We didn't have a striker on the pitch, so go for something, do something different. We got strikers on the bench. We got Ayeti and Sande Silva. Fair enough. You know, Sande Silva, you know, has had a long-term illness and he's still not proven himself in the Premier League because of his illness. And Ayeti, we know, you know, probably isn't Premier League class, but try. You know, do something, give it a try, see what happens. When you have a natural striker on the pitch, you know, even if they're not the best even if they're not the best striker in the world, having a natural striker on the pitch can change the way you play. You know, and if it was Anderson or Antonio sitting behind an Ayeti or and Silva, we might have seen a different game. We may not have, but I don't know. Oh, interesting. You may stop this not Moyes team nonsense reality. Is this? He had some of the world's best players during his time, and Man U could not manage them. Cannot motivate. Well, he can motivate the players. Anton's gone, so I'll take that off. He can motivate the players. It's just, I just don't think he plays them in the right way. You know, we've lost Anton. I don't know where he's gone. So we'll carry on.
Probably.
So what do you? I mean, what do you see Tuesday, mate? You know what happens on Tuesday?
See, the one thing I've always said is part of the beauty of West Ham is we could easily go up there and beat them. When we beat them last year away, we didn't really think it, did we? You know, and we turn up there, their first game, and you know, I actually gave a ticket to a really good mate of mine to that game with the words, listen mate, have me ticket, because to be frankly, the last thing I want to do is go and look at their lovely stadium and watch them smack us.
I was there, mate. I'll tell you what, you missed the game.
He you know, he texted me at the end, he went, didn't you fucking wish you'd gone? You know, and you think, I'm pleased you went, because I was pleased for him, you know, that he went to the game and everything. But yeah, I wish I had. You know,
it was a cracking day.
The annoying thing is that a mate of mine in America had managed to blag us a couple of tickets for this game. So and now we can't bloody go.
Can't go. Yeah.
So and the poor sod's stuck with the 2 tickets. So do you know? What did you watch Spurs Man United game?
I watched bits of it, yeah.
I watched the whole game, and Spurs were very good in the beginning. Went 1-0 up, bang, typical Mourinho. It was like they didn't want to know. You know, they had nothing in the second half. They did nothing in the second half. So if I look at that, ignoring what we've done, yes, I can see hope. They've got Dele Alli to come back in. I don't know. You know, on paper, you would think Spurs should wipe the floor with us, but they didn't last year. It's quite possible, you know, that we could get something. But you know, it's hard because I keep saying we've got to target these winnable 3 games. But you need to accumulate points from elsewhere, because the law of averages says those 3 games we're going to target, you know, like Newcastle, Norwich, Aston Villa. Oh, sorry, Watford, Aston Villa. We're probably not going to win all 3, are we?
No.
I mean, you know, Watford concede an 89th minute goal and then get one in the 94th minute. So we can see that they're fighting, aren't we?
Yeah.
And that's what we didn't have, fight.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. We didn't have the fight. And that's why, you know, that's why it was upsetting that Moyes didn't utilise, you know, the 5 subs. If he felt it needed a change, or if he felt that he needed to keep players fresh, do what almost every other team has done and use all your 5 subs. I don't actually agree with it. I don't like having 5 subs. I think even just for this interim, but change the game, and that's what's so frustrating with Moyes is he doesn't change. They made a change. Traore made the difference.
Yeah, but they changed the formation. They changed the way they play. They went more, You say you don't like the 5 subs. For me, I don't object to it. But for me, I think I would have stipulated the last 2 subs would have had to have been under 23 players.
Bang on. Exactly.
But then Moyes didn't make the subs, did he? So the chances are, it's possible he looked at the bench, see under 23 players and thought, don't fancy it. And for me, that's bad. At 1-0 down, what are you going to do when he's looking at the same players that we are? He can see that it's not working.
Yeah.
As you say, I'd rather he threw on a couple of kids and said, go do your best. And we lost 2.
Absolutely.
The only thing is, what I think he's got to look at, and whether this clouds his judgment, is because of how close it is. We could have lost 2-0. Bournemouth lost 1-0. That 2-0, or if Bournemouth, it's so close that we could keep losing. Bournemouth could keep losing, but we could still end up in the bottom 3 because we lose by more goals than Bournemouth. But that's how mad it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you in the back of my mind, whether he's thinking about the goal difference, because it's quite possible that a team will be relegated on goal difference.
But that's exactly what he did. This is my point about why it's upsetting about today, because that's what he did when he came back. It was all about containment, about not losing by many goals. Rather than trying to turn around and go, let's try and win this. Let's go out there and give it our all. He's talking about I think he even said it himself, not in the exact words, but he seemed to imply in some of the games that I think he said one of the games we lost, it was a good result because I think we only lost by a goal or something like that. That's what he implied. So for him, it's sort of like losing 1-0 or 2-0 is all right because it might continue to keep us out of the bottom 3. But that's really bad. That's a really bad approach to take. Rather than going, look, if we're going to lose this game, let's at least go out and have a go. Because even if we lose by a couple of goals, if we score 1 goal, that makes a difference in our goal difference. But today we had nothing to offer, and if we continue to have nothing to offer, for the next few games, we will go down. Moyes has got to do something different, and I agree with you. He should have brought on a couple, 1 or 2 under 23s. Totally agree.
I mean, if you look at the teams that we've got points against, strange enough, like we beat Southampton twice, we've beat Bournemouth, we've got a point against Brighton. Perhaps we should. Can we ask to play on the South Coast? Because I'm grabbing at straws here, but the link I see is that's the 3 South teams.
Well, we only got a point against Brighton because he made stupid changes.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, but
we were winning 3-1, mate.
At the moment, a point's better than none, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but that was a
I mean, our last 3 wins, 2 of them against Southampton.
Right.
But now look where Southampton are. I swear, when we beat Southampton in December, we were above them.
They were struggling.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But what happened? Who sacked their manager and who didn't? Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have sacked Pellegrini or whatever, but sometimes pulling the trigger don't work.
Greener.
Yeah, pulling the trigger don't work. Are you telling me that with Pellegrini, we'd be worse than we are now?
I don't think so, no.
No. So therefore, for me, why are we paying 2 managers when we might as well have kept that one?
Yeah.
Moyes was the wrong answer for me.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think it was a bad move. We had opportunities to change it around, and I think we went for what seemed to be the safer bet, or certainly the cheaper bet. Should Pellegrini have gone? Don't know. That's a hard one. But I'm in total agreement with you. I don't think we would have been. I think we would have been better off if Pellegrini had stayed. We would have won another game or 2. under him, because what he would have done is he would have gone out and he would have gone for it, rightly or wrongly. He would have put the team out for some of the games to try and win. And I think this is why I'm really nervous, because Moyes didn't try to win the game today. He tried to get a draw, is what it looks like.
Yeah, I won't disagree with you there. To be fair, I whether that was enforced on him by Haller, it's obviously we played a certain way in the behind closed doors. Especially with Haller scoring, I think he probably would have thought Haller looks like a confidence player. He is a bloke that in Germany, when we signed, my mate in Germany said, I hope we get the Haller of last season, not of 2 seasons ago, because apparently he blew out our cold. And then it was the season before we bought him, when Frankfurt finished in the Champions League positions. They were playing like a 4-3-3. They had Jovic up front with Haller and another player, and they sold all 3 of them, I think.
Yeah.
And again, Haller got about 20 odd goals, but he was the secondary striker, not the main striker.
That's right.
We've bought him and put him up front on his own as the main one, when actually he was like the Antonio of the team, rather than the Andy Carroll of the team.
And if he thrives on confidence, that ain't done his confidence any good at all.
No.
We talked about this before, about the way we utilize our strikers. We always buy either the right strikers and play them in the wrong way, or the wrong strikers to play in it's one or the other. We don't seem to have that. Haller, we knew, we did our research, when there was talk about, him possibly coming, we did a show on him. We did a transfer show on him. We talked about how he was effective in a front 2 or a front 3. And we all thought he was going to play alongside Hernandez. That's what we thought at the beginning of the season. And then off we go and sell Hernandez, and all of a sudden we've only got 1 striker. Like you said, we sold all 4 strikers, or we let all 4 strikers go.
Yeah.
And I think the warning, the alarm bells must have been happening back then. That Haller is not a lone striker. He's not that sort of player. And I think he's got a lot of stick for all the wrong reasons. Because we hear the word striker and we think we're buying a 20, 30 goal a season striker. He's going to get that if he's played in the right way. And we've badly utilized him. But you're right, mate. The fact that he wasn't available today should have made Moyes decide, I don't have a striker. I'm not going to go out there without a striker. I'll use a Yeti or Sandy Silva, or if not, start with them, bring them on.
Well, it's hard to say. Our season depends on him, but I think our formation at the moment is if we're going to play with a striker, you can see we're not doing anything with playing a false 9 or with Antonio up front. What happens if this groin strain is bad? What happens if he's out for 5 games?
Yeah.
We got, then we have got a big problem.
Absolutely. Well, he's going to be forced to have to play a youngster.
And then we go void season, COVID. We'll have to clutch them straws, and all the people that said no, football's got to be finished, like me, are going to
regret.
Going to be blamed as the people that sent West Ham down.
Well, it would have had to. It would have had to finish sooner or later, and it just feels like these last 3 months have been for nothing.
Listen, I've been, you've been doing shows. We've been doing podcasts for 3 months, talking about nothing because we had no football. Now we're rerunning shows from January because we've actually got back to playing football.
Yeah,
and he's not had 3 months, has it? So what's he had? He's had 5 or 6 weeks pure training. And the problem is, on that evidence, I can't see what's happening. The only thing I can think of is that losing Haller cocked up whatever he'd played.
He's thinking.
Yeah. The only thing I will say is Ngakia's shot. If you look him line that shot up, I think we can get an idea of how he scored last Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. That for me, I know we haven't seen it, and I know the fact that he attempted that says to me, that's what you did, mate. That's what you did, and you pinged it. So hopefully, I don't object to that, because sometimes it can bounce up the keeper, and then your striker's there to tap it in.
Cup final 75, long shots, and Taylor got on the end of them.
Yeah, well, so you are old enough to remember that still. So,
but we need a striker, a fox in the box, to get onto the end of them, just in case they do bounce off. And yeah, you're absolutely right. And Ngakia wasn't wrong to have a go. It's only our second shot on target the whole game.
Yeah,
and if the keeper hadn't held on to it, had we had a striker up there, it might have been able to tap one in. But there you go.
I mean, looking at the Spurs game, what team now? Do you think?
Well, I think it all depends on whether Ogbonna's back or not. We don't know how bad the injury is. If Ogbonna is back, I can see Rice going back into midfield, and I don't think Noble will start that game. I think he'll be too knackered after today. Ngakia will keep his place at right back, and then he's got to take a risk. If Allair's not available, he's got to decide to give someone a chance, whether it be a Yeti or Sande Silva, because you're right, mate. Anderson didn't offer anything, and I'm disappointed by that, because I was advocating for Anderson to start. And he was all right, but he wasn't the Anderson that we all know he could be. So I think there's got to be changes on Tuesday night, and it will all kind of depend on what happens with Ogbonna, and then it will just filter down, because I can see Rice and Souček going in the middle, and I can see Noble maybe being benched to start with, and then being brought on maybe later, because I don't think he'll have the legs to start, to be honest with you. What about you? What do you think he'll do?
If I am a gambling man, and there's a bit of me that will put my money if Haller's not available, he'll go with the same type of team and maybe start Lanzini instead of Anderson.
Pointless.
And I mean, if Ngakia starts, I'd like to think that means that his contract looks like it's coming to fruition. But as I said earlier, that if he looks at that performance, and if he was thinking of signing, and someone has already made him another offer, he may be thinking again, isn't it? That's the worry.
Yeah,
because he's got a perfect time to bail out.
Absolutely. Yep. So you don't think he'll risk, if Allair's not available, you don't think he'll risk playing anyone, a striker up front, even if it's a youngster?
I mean, so the natural thing is, to be fair, until you said a Jetty, my boat was still moored up against him, so I forgot he was. I forgot he was of any use.
There's always Yarmolenko. He's played up front for his national team.
Yeah,
but again, not a natural striker.
No. I mean, for me, a Jetty's got to be better than again doing what we've done now.
Absolutely.
And so that for me. So I would put a Jetty in, Antonio off of him, but maybe, I don't know if you'd play him out wide, have Antonio sitting behind him. So you would have, hopefully we get Ogbonna back. So I would go Ngakia, Creswell, Diop, Ogbonna, bring Rice back into the middle, Souček, drop Noble, have Yarmolenko probably on the left, Yarmolenko on the right, Bowen on the left. No, what's Bowen? He's left-footed, isn't he? So I want Bowen to cut in. So Bowen on the right,
Yarmolenko and Bowen both do the same thing. They both left-footed and they like cutting in.
That's not a problem because you got one staying wide. If you get both cutting in, it can be a problem. If you have one staying out wide and one coming in, he's going to come in. You feed the wider player and allow the player to come in.
Yeah.
So you got two options, and then have Antonio sitting there with a Jetty in front of him.
Would you go for a Yeti or would you go for Sandy Silva to start?
It's hard. I've not
It's
really
hard because
seen a lot.
yeah.
What's Sandy Silva done? You know, this is like the Tony Martinez thing. So, you know, I was at Shrewsbury away. We were singing his name. He comes on the pitch and you think, well, he can't score against Shrewsbury. You know, and where's the kid now? Second division Spain.
Yeah, but Sandy Silva, to his credit, after a long illness, came back in the under-23s and hit the ground running.
So did Tony Martinez. Scored goals. I used to go over and watch the under-23s. I had a funny thing where we're sitting there watching Tony Martinez, and my mate went to me, "That Martinez up front, he ain't all that, is he?" I said, "Watch him." I said, "He'll get. He has this habit. It does nothing all game. Bang, bang, bang. He got 2 goals. He scores the second goal. He runs over to me and my mate and slaps the hand of the kid next to him, and it was turned out it was his brother." So his brother's just had to listen to me and my mate going, "Yeah, no, don't worry, you know, I can't see him making it and everything," you know. And you think, I hope he couldn't speak English because he just heard me and my mate slaughter his brother. And it was just so funny that he scored the goal and then come running right over, and we're thinking, what's he doing? And then he leans over, and because he's always played at Dagenham, and I5s the kid next to him, and it was his brother. But that, you know, so we all build up these young players. Yeah. Before we see them go on the pitch.
Very true. Very true.
Let's take Freddie Sears. Freddie Sears comes on, scores a goal. West Ham kid, on church boy, blah, blah, blah. Goal, yeah. Nowadays, they'd be saying, give him 20 grand. Get him in the thing. Yeah, look at him now. Look, you know, he makes... He's in Ipswich in Division 1.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking the kid. He's a professional footballer, but it turned out he weren't Premier League. So it's easy sometimes with youngsters to come in. You got to see them do it week in, week out. And I haven't been to an under-23 game for 2 years, so I don't know how good they are.
No, agreed. Understood. Yeah. Well, we have to do something on Tuesday in order to. We certainly can't do what we did today. I think we kind of agreed on that. So it's going to be interesting to see what team does line up against Spurs. But as for today, I think we all agree it's disappointing. I know it's the first game back, but it's the same for every team. You know, Wolves, it was their first game back as well. And like I said, I don't think they really came out of second gear, really, to beat us what looked to be quite comfortable in the end. So let's see what happens on Tuesday. Yeah. Any last comments before we go, mate?
No, not really. I keep the faith, people. Keep the faith. Know, by hook or by crook. I've seen us in work. Listen, we've been in worse positions now and got out of it.
We have,
and that's what you've got to cling to. Yeah,
that is
all
true.
Those years.
And dare I say it, we've been in better positions and got off worse as well.
Don't look at them.
We know how far back
people think I'm negative, yeah, and I'm always looking at trying to bring up the positives.
I'm actually usually quite positive, but I'm just upset. I think at the performance today. Yeah. But all right, well, we'll be back with more shows. I'm doing my. What do you call it? Stell's Sunday Army on Sunday tomorrow night.
Super Stell Sunday. You put yourself down, son. It's Super Stell Sunday Army.
So join me for that. I'll be talking a load of crap as I usually do, looking at the week.
You do it so well, though, Stell. Don't put yourself down, son. You talk crap really well.
I was about to promote your podcast, but I won't do it now. Listen out to more than just a podcast on Monday, because that is actually quite good banter.
Yeah, it's me slagging off Sean and repeating what I've said on here, people.
Which is why it's really good banter. And we'll be back with a preview. We're gonna try and persevere with previews the night before rather than 2 days before, because we had comments yesterday for a lot of people saying they actually quite like that. So we'll do a preview Monday night, and of course we're going to do. I don't know if we're going to do a watch along. I think we are on Tuesday, and then the review after. And then we got a few days off. Looking forward to Chelsea the week after. But more shows. There's going to be transfers. Oh my God! You should see the number of transfers I've got for tomorrow night. I wish I hadn't bothered now, but there you go. So join us again. Thank you, Nigel. As always, much appreciated, mate. And and we'll talk soon.
Hold up.
Go on.
Don't forget, like, subscribe. What's it?
Oh,
Anton
yeah,
says,
yeah, yeah,
"Okay, the
yeah.
new like,
Yeah, yeah.
subscribe, and
Like,
stuff."
subscribe, and all
Yeah.
that crap. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Cheers, Nige.
See
Speak to
you
you later.
later. Ta-ra, mate.